There's an old saying, when the United States sneezes, the world catches a cold. But what happens when China, the world's second largest economy, gets sick? Today, we look at how China's economic troubles might affect the entire globe. China is facing serious problems: slow growth, high youth unemployment, and a struggling property market. The real estate giant Evergrande is in big trouble, with its shares suspended and its chairman under police watch. How important are these issues for the rest of the world? Now, you might be wondering, how does this affect me or my country? Well, let's get into that. First, think about supply chains. Many countries rely on Chinese manufacturing for everything from electronics to clothing. If China struggles to produce goods, it creates a bottleneck that impacts businesses everywhere. For example, remember the chip shortage that affected car production? It was partly due to delays in China. Then there's the financial market. Investors are getting jittery, and when big investors pull back, it can lead to market instability globally. Countries that export to China, like Australia with its iron ore, are also feeling the squeeze. If China buys less, that means fewer jobs and economic growth for those countries. It's all interconnected, folks. While some experts think fears of a global crisis are exaggerated, the effects are real for international companies, workers, and even everyday people. Deborah Elms, who is executive director of Asian Trade Center, say, if people in China start spending less, it won't instantly crash the global economy. But companies that depend on Chinese shoppers will definitely feel the impact. Big companies like Apple, Volkswagen, and Burberry rely heavily on Chinese customers. If Chinese consumers spend less, these companies and their global supply chains will face challenges. China contributes to over a third of global growth. When its economy slows down, it affects many other countries. Recently, Fitch downgraded its global growth forecast because of China's slowdown. George Magnus, who is economist, University of Oxford, say, yes, China accounts for a lot of global growth, but that growth mainly benefits China itself. China exports much more than it imports, so its growth is often about its own economy rather than the global economy. China's lower demand for raw materials means less business for countries that export these goods, like Australia, Brazil, and some African nations. On the other hand, lower prices in China could be a temporary relief for consumers dealing with high inflation. But for developing countries that rely on Chinese investment, the long-term effects are uncertain. China has invested over $1 trillion in infrastructure projects around the world. If China's economy keeps struggling, its ability to fund these projects might decrease. China's economic troubles might influence its foreign policy. A weaker China might try to improve relations with the US, but Beijing's actions so far show a tough stance. Roland Raja, who is director of Indo-Pacific Development Center, say, reduced investment abroad could change China's global strategy. Whether this leads to more cooperation or more conflict is still unclear. Some worry that China's economic issues might make it more aggressive, especially toward Taiwan. But US ex-President Joe Biden believes China is too focused on its own problems to make bold moves. Joe Biden, ex-US president, say, I don't think economic problems will lead China to invade Taiwan. If anything, China might have less capacity for such actions. The 2008 financial crisis taught us to expect the unexpected, while China's current problems aren't expected to cause a global crash like Lehman Brothers did. The interconnected nature of the global economy means impacts are likely. Deborah Elms, who is executive director of Asian Trade Center, say, we're all connected. When a major economy struggles, it affects everyone, often in ways we might not predict. As China deals with its economic issues, the world is watching. The effects of its struggles may reshape global dynamics in ways we can't yet fully understand. What do you think about China's economic situation? Do you believe it will impact your country? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to stay updated and join us as we continue to explore the stories that shape our world.